洁、公正、有效率的政府。
新加坡是美食天堂，食物价格有什么波动，大家都很关心。这样的一只鸡翅膀卖1块半，但是如果食品供应商暗地里抬高价格，它就会更贵了。家居店宜家的鸡翅膀相当著名，但是曾经有职员和外人勾结，让公司在货源上多付了至少800万元。
宜家餐厅经理龙家宝每个月都会和食品供应商林金城碰面，这样的安排已经持续6年多。
这几个月订单会增加，我们准备好啊。
没问题。
这个月收获很好啊。
这是龙家宝的额外收入，也是一笔见不得光的赃款。
厉害厉害厉害！
来。他信得过。
早在2002年，龙家宝就在林金城的介绍下，认识了废物处理公司 AT35的老板郑福文。
你好，
这个家宝，
请多多指教。不瞒你说，这生意不好做。
明白。我要做的不是废物处理，现在我需要呢，就是一间公司提供鸡翅膀，我可以自己决定跟谁下订单。
真的吗？提供鸡翅膀就行了。
放心，我有事的。
好。
Our preliminary findings reveal 2 points. Number 1, the offender has a property that is disproportionate to his income. 2, the supplier was never in food supply before, and most of the items that he supplied to IKEA were actually sourced from another importer. In terms of business, it doesn't make sense at all.
郑福文的公司成为宜家的食品供应商后，在短期内转亏为盈。郑福文每个月会将公司盈利平均分成3份，一份给林金城，另一份留给龙家宝。
It was through our interview tradecraft we managed to find that the receiver was the mastermind, and he played a very significant role in the case.
龙家宝，你拿3000多块的薪水，怎么可能买得起100万豪宅？郑福文，你的公司一向不赚钱，怎么可能突然转亏为盈？林金城，你为什么每个月都交那么大笔的钱给龙家宝？
龙家宝在6年半内共80次收取了200多万元的汇金，这导致宜家为食品供应多付了至少800万元。
This case goes beyond one that is just merely a conflict of interest. Our investigation revealed that the offender can find a cheaper food source from other supplier, but he insisted buying from AT35 at a higher price. Because of his corrupt act, the markup price will potentially pass it on to our consumer.
龙家宝在抗辩时自称是公司合伙人，林金城交给他的钱是股息，但出庭法官认为，龙家宝收取的是汇金，才让林金城和郑福文的公司轻易取得宜家的食品订单。法官最后裁决3人贪污罪名成立，龙家宝被判坐牢98周，以及交出所有234万元汇金。林金城入狱70周。 郑福文则入狱40周和罚款18万元。
不过案件后来出现转折，龙家宝不服所判，上诉高庭，结果被判无罪释放。但是控方上诉到最高法院上诉庭，最后三司恢复原判，龙家宝最终还是必须为自己的罪行付出代价。
高庭法官的分析是说，这个被告他是一个主谋，如果他是一个主谋，就不可能是在别人的诱使下去做出这个贪污的行为嘛。所以在这样的一个基础、这样的一个理由呢，就判他无罪。可是这个案子到了上诉法院的时候呢，上诉庭的那个法官就认为说，其实呢，如果控方能证明这个被告在这个交易下真的是有收到了他不义的那个钱财，而且收了钱财呢，就建议这个宜家去跟他勾结的那个供应商买这个食品，这样也能在法律上可以造成一个贪污的一个罪行。
过去，贪污调查局主要处理公共部门的舞弊贿赂，现在他们调查更多的是私人机构的贪污案。2021年，83起被立案调查的贪污案件中，有89%涉及私人企业，它所触及的层面和公众的日常生活息息相关。
如果送礼是一门艺术，那收礼绝对也是大学问。逢年过节，企业商家送礼给生意上的伙伴，希望打好关系，办起事来更加容易。有些人以为收点礼物无伤大雅，但礼品如果太过昂贵，就会出现问题。一些在业界约定俗成的所谓行规，可能已经触犯防止贪污法。
豪华轿车的代理权一向炙手可热，宝马总代理的常务董事辛里登马可和销售及营销总监鲍国恩有权利决定更新或者终止代理商的合约。
Merry Christmas in advance.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Happy Christmas. But honestly, you shouldn't have. It's not necessary.
No worries, it's just a small gift. Take it.
It's very kind of you. Thank you.
Check this out. New models.
Wow.
Yeah, coming in.
Hey, Jess. Thank you for your gift, but it's far too expensive. I can't possibly accept it.
It's just a Christmas gift, Mark. Please accept it.
All right then. Hey, thank you again.
Hope you like it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
开始的时候，他是主动的送2只手表作为圣诞礼物了。之后，这个被告就开始跟这个车商要求他买更多的名表。有些时候他根本就是没有把这些款项还给我们车商。
This is for you.
Thank you.
Is it the design that you wanted?
Oh, yes. Thank you. You're so fast.
Yes, of course. I must act fast.
Oh, yeah. Remember I told you about the Merce that I wanted to rent from you for this weekend?
Sure, no problem.
Hi, guys. Hi, Jess.
Hey, hi, Patrick. Oh, yeah, your dealership agreement. Patrick will follow up with you.
Yes, I will.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess.
本来送礼是一份心意，但久而久之，心意变成交易，这样的行为早已触碰底线。
You like it?
Oh, I do.
因为车商有很多车嘛，他就叫这个车商说：“我可以借你的车来用一下吗？”然后慢慢的，从1辆车，他就慢慢的借了3辆车，最终他就把最后1辆车卖掉，卖掉的车的那些款项，他就把那些钱占为己有。
What? You want to use the car again? But Mark, the last one you have not. Okay. Mark, To be honest,
车商跟我们说的是，他不知道送礼是一种贿赂。如果送礼者和收礼者之间有商务上的关系，而送礼者在赠送礼物的时候，期待收礼者在商务上给他其中一些的利益，这就是有贪污的成分。所以我呼吁每间公司都要有送礼的规则，职员们也要遵守这些条例。
如果要构成一个贪污的那个罪行呢，控方也要去证明说，这个收这个礼物的这个人啊，他知道说这个礼物其实是一个不正当的一个礼物，不是一个过年过节的一个这样的一个礼物。
Hey, that sounds like a great idea. Why don't we catch up soon?
贪污调查局接到匿名举报后，展开调查。
Mr. Mark Singleton?
Yes?
I'm from CPIB. I need you to follow me back to assist in the investigation.
心理曾马可最终被罚18万5千元和交出11万多元的汇金，鲍国恩则被罚12万元以及交出14万多元的汇金。行贿的张杰峰则接获严厉警告，不管是行贿还是受贿，一样难辞其咎。
他每年销售也好，服务性也好，他是最佳的促销商。然后他们的论点就是说，我根本是不需要行贿啊，因为他的代理权它是自动的会每年更新的嘛。因为有了这一点，所以我们贪污调查局就花费了很多功夫了，收集很多的证据，证明这个被告是根本就是滥用他的职权。
有人贪礼物落入法网。
一场精彩的足球赛牵动着观众的情绪，裁判可以用手中的红卡命令违规球员离场。他们掌握了球赛的生死大权，有义务确保比赛的公平性。可是，却有裁判被美色诱惑，企图操纵国际赛事。还好，球赛还没开打，贪污调查局迅速逮捕了当事人。
研究球赛是丁思洋必做的功课，他对一些充满争议性的球赛尤其感兴趣。
Hi, James.
Hey, Ali.
We will come over later this year.
Since it will be your first time coming to Singapore, I must take good care of you.
Yeah, maybe you can find some.
Girls?
Yeah.
Easy peasy. Leave it to me.
Okay, see you.
Okay?
Bye.
Bye.
阿里萨巴格是黎巴嫩人，担任过许多国际足球赛的裁判，正好是丁思洋想拉拢的对象。
James.
在球赛开打的前一天，阿里和2名助理裁判抵达我国。
Take a rest. Your fun is on the way.
Wow, cool. Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
球场上行使专业判断的裁判，美色当前，还是抵挡不了诱惑，失去判断力。
Ali Sabah?
Yes.
CPIB.
贪污调查局收到情报，第一时间展开行动。
Under the Prevention of Corruption Act, the Corrupt Act is considered to have already taken place, as the accused persons in this case had already received their gratification for the purpose of fixing the football matches. So as such, we were able to effect the arrest.
在审问过程中，丁思洋一直很不合作。
你去找那个足球裁判，有什么目的？
我要写一篇足球报道，
没什么的。
你的密码是什么？
丁思洋思考缜密，早就用先进的加密技术隐藏犯罪证据。
He uses advanced encryption technology to hide his digital evidence. Firstly, he had a Windows laptop that is fully encrypted. In order to access the contents of the laptop, the correct password needs to be entered.
贪污调查局出动数码法证组协助搜证。
We have to uncover all these correct passwords using digital forensic and password cracking tools.
Okay, got it. 我们已经破解了你的电脑密码，而且找回了你所有的电邮。
Once we managed to gain access to the laptop, we found a suspiciously large file which is about 30 gigabytes in size. After further examination, this turns out to be another encrypted volume. This kind of technology utilizes the use of both a fake password and a real password. So if the user were to enter a fake password, an empty fake volume will appear. Once inside the real encrypted volume, we found photos of himself, some files, an encrypted email client. Some of these emails contain YouTube links on how to award penalties.
在网络主宰的时代，电脑或手机都可以成为不法之徒的犯罪工具。2004年成立的数码法证组，处理了无数科技罪案，为破案提供强而有力的证据。
Our main role is to uncover digital evidence found in modern-day devices. So these kind of devices can be from MacBooks, Windows computers, Apple Android mobile devices, cloud storages, or even cloud email. So we have also developed the ability to analyze contents across different devices and try to make sense and gather insights through forensic data analytics.
丁思洋性贿赂裁判，被判入狱3年，主裁判阿里萨巴格坐牢6个月，另外2名黎巴嫩裁判则各入狱3个月。丁思洋向高庭上诉后，刑期不减反增，从3年增加到5年。
The prosecution put forth the argument that such offences tarnished the country's reputation and asked the High Court to raise the sentencing benchmark for such offences, given the changes in technology and the landscape of betting in sports.
由于丁思洋的收入和资产不相称，法庭发出没收令，充公丁思洋258万元的不法资产。这也是第一次有行贿者的资产被充公。
In a rare and challenging move, CPIB invoked the provisions in CDSA to confiscate its unaccounted wealth. An exhaustive financial investigation was carried out, involving interviews of more than 120 persons, screening with 160 over banks and assets such as luxury vehicles, landed property, bank accounts and cash were restrained and frozen at the onset of the investigations.
步入21世纪，高科技快速发展，贪污手法日新月异，增加了执法人员调查的难度。贪污调查局与时并进，不断提升办案能力，和不法分子斗智斗勇。
We learned that as more and more people are learning and adopting blockchain and cryptocurrency technologies, this could turn into a blind spot for us if we do not keep up with the new technology. Therefore, CPIB is also keeping ourselves in the know on how to deal with such technology if we encounter them during our course of investigation.
我们必须和外国的执法单位保持良好的工作关系。其实，新加坡贪污调查局也是国际反贪污协作中心的发起人。这个中心提供很有价值的跨国际的资源和法律上的机制，让我们更容易调查我们这些跨国性的案件。
在今年1月份公布的全球廉洁排行榜上，我国与瑞典、挪威并列第4名，是过去10年唯一跻身10大的亚洲国家。
我们其实是经过大约1代人的时间铲除贪污，这是我们的成就。然而， 这种改变并不是奇迹，或者是一个侥幸，我们不能因此而自满，必须时时刻刻保持警惕，以确保贪污行为不再死灰复燃。
不管是一时行差踏错，还是明知故犯，如果以为能够瞒天过海，最终只会自食其果。我国能够保持清廉之风，不是一朝一夕达成的。贪污调查局过去70年努力杜绝贪污歪风，才有了今天的成效。要持续捍卫反贪信念，还需要你我的努力。